All right, so for this very first question, we have what does the expression 5 plus 6 times 3 simplify to? They're asking us to evaluate this expression, so we're actually going to go ahead and try to solve this. We have 5 plus 6 times 3. So now we need to think about what they're asking us to do. Well, we already can tell when they say simplify, they're asking us to solve what this expression is. So we write out our steps and we go from the first one. Parentheses, are there parentheses? There are, so we're going to solve that first, and it's going to be 6 times 3 inside the parentheses. That's going to give us 5 plus 18. We move on. No more parentheses, no more exponents, multiplication, division, and we're done. There's none of that. And then there's addition, subtraction still. So we add that. We have 5 plus 18, which is going to get us 23. Sorry about that. Our next question says, what is the value of the expression shown below? Same as before, except this time the expression is not right inside the question part. It's just written in a separate part. 50 minus 2 times 9 plus 8 divided by 4. And we're going to write out our steps. PEM slash D A slash S. Parentheses first, as always. So we look here, there are parentheses, so we're going to solve what's in there first. 2 times 9 is going to be 18. Rewrite the stuff that we haven't used yet. 50 minus 18 plus 8 divided by 4. Now we go back to our steps. No more parentheses, no exponents, multiplication, division. There is a multiplication division. We're going to solve that next. 8 divided by 4 is going to be 2. So now we have 50 minus 18 plus 2. Now we go back to our steps. We already used parentheses, we use exponents. There's no more multiplication division, so we move on to the next one, addition, subtraction. There is an addition, subtraction thing first, and we're going to subtract first because it showed up first. 50 minus 18 is going to be 32 plus 2. And then we go back here. There's still addition, so we can say 32 plus 2 is 34. Same as before, when you when it says simplify, we're just going to solve for whatever it is. So let's go ahead and write this out on the side so you can see it better. 5 divided by 5 times 10 divided by 5 plus 10. We write out our steps again. Please eat my dad and sister. First step, parentheses. There are parentheses, so we solve that first. 10 divided by 5 is 2, leaving us with 5 divided by 5 times 2 plus 10. No more parentheses, no exponents. Multiplication, division. There is multiplication, division. The division shows up first, so we solve that first. 5 divided by 5 is 1 times 2 plus 10. Still on multiplication, division. There is still multiplication. 1 times 2 is next. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 10. And then we have addition, subtraction left. 12. Our next question says, which expression represents 2 less than 5 doubled? So if we think to ourselves, if we solve it in our heads, we can figure out what they're asking us already. I know that 2 less than 5 doubled means I probably have to double the 5 and then take 2 away from it. So let's go ahead and think about that. 2 less than 5 doubled. I know that there's 2 ways we can double 5, but the way that we double any number is with times 2. So I know that 5 doubled is probably going to be represented by 5 times 2 or maybe 2 times 5. 2 less than that means I'm going to solve this first. So that's why I put that in parentheses. And then I'm going to take 2 away from it. So this is taking 2 away. So 5 times 2 minus 2. And I can see here that there is an answer that's going to match what I chose. Let's go ahead and click that. It's going to be 5 times 2 minus 2. What step is performed first to simplify this expression? Well, if I write out my steps, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I see there's no parentheses in our expression. 50 divided by 5 times 10, there's none of that. There's no exponents. As far as multiplication division goes, there is division and multiplication, but the division shows up first, so I'm going to solve that one first. And that's going to be the 50 divided by 5. Simplify the expression below. This is going to, this one has nested, which we didn't really go over, but we'll figure it out. 5 divided by 5 times 10 divided by 5 plus 10 times 0. Let's go ahead and write out our steps. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sam. Parentheses. Notice that we have two sets of parentheses. If you have something called nested parentheses, which means a parentheses inside a parentheses, you solve the innermost parentheses first. So I can see that in this entire big parentheses thing, that this 10 divided by 5 is nested inside of another set of parentheses. So we're actually going to solve the 10 divided by 5 first. 10 divided by 5 is going to be 2. So that's going to leave us with 5 divided by 5 times 2 plus 10 times 0. Now we solve the parenthesis part again, and inside this parentheses we can say there's no parentheses in the parentheses, there's no exponents, there is multiplication slash division. The division shows up first, so we would do that first. 5 divided by 5 is 1 times 2 plus 10. That's still inside those parentheses, so we're still solving in the parentheses. In the parentheses, there's a multiplication division that shows up now. It's 1 times 2. That's going to be 2 plus 10 times 0. Inside, we're still inside the parentheses, but there's no more multiplication division. There's addition, subtraction. So we know 2 plus 10 is going to be 12. And then we can take that out of the parentheses finally. And then 12 times 0. And the answer is going to be 0. Which expression equals 40? This is one of those questions where you can't just sit there and try to guess it out. You actually just have to solve each one. So let's go ahead and solve A. A is 20 divided by 2 times 2. We're going to use the same steps for all of these. Parentheses, there is none. Exponents, none. Multiplication, division. Division shows up first. We have 10 times 2. And we can just solve that because those are the last two things left, and that's going to be 20. So I know that A is wrong. Now we have B. 20 times 4 times 2. There's parentheses, so we solve that first. We have 8. 20 times 8 is going to be 160. I know that's not 40. B is wrong. C. We have 20 times 4 plus 2. There are parentheses, so we solve that first. 4 plus 2 is 6. 20 times 6 is 120. So I know C is wrong. D is obviously going to be our right answer, but we're going to check anyway. Maybe Mr. Lin made a typo and wrote the question wrong. 20 times 2 divided by 1. We solve what's inside the parentheses first. That's going to get us 2. And then we can write down the 20 times. 20 times 2 is going to be 40. So it didn't make a typo. It is D. Now, I noticed that this is in a random order, but I see that this one says D. So I'm going to click that one. A restaurant has 5 full cartons of boogers. Each carton holds 12 boogers. If 15 boogers are used, okay, I did not write this part. It was changed. A restaurant has 5 full cartons of boogers. Each carton holds 12 boogers. If 15 boogers are used, how many boogers does the restaurant have? I think you guys can figure out why I did not write this. Well, I know 5 cartons is really just 5 cases or 5 boxes of boogers. So I know we have 5 groups of 12, and that's going to tell us how many boogers are there in total. And they say if 15 of them are used, I'm going to lose 15 because they want me to find how many they have. Well, if they use 15, they lose those 15. So I know that this expression is going to be 5 times 12 minus 15, and I'm going to solve parentheses first, and then write that. And I know 60 minus 15 is 45. Did I not do number 6? No, I did. Which expression represents the following word problem? Miss K bought a llama for $50 and a box of peanuts to feed her llama for $15. She paid with a $100 bill. How much change should she receive? So Miss K bought a llama for $50 and a box of peanuts for $15, and she paid with a $100 bill. So I want to find out how much change. So I know that I need to find out the total of what she spent, which is going to be 50 plus 15. And she used a $100 bill to pay for all that. So I know I have to take that total away from the 100. Remember, when it says take away from, you need to really think about where that taking away part is going. So I know this is going to be 100 minus 50 plus 15. I can see that this very first answer choice is the same thing that I just wrote. And then finally, the last one, the value of this expression is 25. If parentheses are put around 6 times 5, what is the value of the expression? So I have 30 divided by 6 times 5. I know that if I put parentheses around the 6 times 5, it's going to change the question. Because instead of doing 30 divided by 6 first now, I have to do 6 times 5 first. So that's going to be 6 times 5, which is equal to 30, giving us 30 divided by 30, which is just going to be 1.